Alright, so just to start off this video, I want to let you know we were called into a job where another glass guy had done some glass railings on a brand new home. It had been built for only a year, and essentially what happened was a piece just broke randomly in the middle of the night. The railing system that they used, the hardware that they used was very cheap, very faulty, and we were called in to fix this job by replacing all of the glass and all of the hardware with our hardware. And essentially you're going to see the difference of quality of what we're offering and what some of the other guys are offering out there. And I wanted to make this video to illustrate that. So stay tuned, and by the end you will totally see the value that we bring compared to the other guys.
When tempered glass breaks, it shatters into tiny little pieces and it gets everywhere. It bounces around corners. It's impossible to clean up. That's what happened here on this project that we were called to come and fix. And this is the hardware that the other guys used. Look at this hardware.
Held on by only 2 wood screws. And this is holding this glass here.
Crazy.
It's insane.
A couple screws. Now look at the hardware they use next to the hardware we are going to use. Those wood screws they use could easily snap. Look at the 1/2-inch bolt on our standoff. That's not going to break. Not only that, but they only used 3 of those little sign standoff hardwares per piece. Everything here is loose. Everything is flimsy. Everything shakes when you touch it. If you'll notice right here, on the right bottom standoff, it's higher than the other ones at the bottom. Why? I'm not really sure. I don't even know why they did this. Just carelessness. And they glued these little clips that I guess were meant to clamp onto the glass and hold the pieces together, but they glued them. Probably with crazy glue. You don't do that. There's nothing solid or secure about that. As you can see, it didn't hold up very well. I'm afraid if I just lean on this railing, I will probably fall right over the edge with glass breaking beneath me. Without a doubt. You see this bolt coming out of the wall? It's not even tying into the glass. They just glued it onto the glass. Normally you would have a bolt running through the glass where there would be a hole there, and it would be secured on the opposite side with a cap, tightening it to what's coming out of the wall. As you can see, nothing here is solid. It's flimsy everywhere you touch this thing. Every single piece. Inconsistent gaps in between the pieces. Look at this tapered wall gap. And then look at this gap. Look how much bigger it is. And then the angles on the bottom pieces don't even line up. This handrail only has 2 handrail brackets holding this entire handrail. And the one here on the bottom, they used a block which they fastened to the wall so they could get the bracket onto the block. My guess is they probably didn't know how to fasten the bracket to the wall. I'm not really sure why they did this. If you just touch this thing, the handrail vibrates on both ends.
Look how wobbly this handrail is, guys.
Hello? No one's speaking.
A glass railing shouldn't wobble when you hit it.
Barely to touch it.
It's cool.
As I mentioned, this hardware, they only used 3 of these things, whereas we would normally be using either 5 or 6 of a piece this size. And these hardwares are meant to hold up signs, not glass railings. So as you can see, we are now drilling holes, and we'll be putting our hardware in, twice the amount of hardware, as you can see in a moment, that the other guys had in. Clearly with this job, the builder just picked the cheapest quote, the cheapest guy they could find to do this job. This is one of the worst jobs we've ever come in and replaced. There's been a few where we've come in and replaced all the glass and all the hardware, typically because a piece broke in the middle of the night, right? That's what would prompt the family to do something like this all over again, because it is quite expensive. But, you know, you really want to make sure you get it done right the first time around. That's the moral of the story here. So now that we have our hardware in, we are hanging glass very carefully, very delicately. Our team of professionals are trained. They bench press 300 pounds and squat 400 pounds. That is a minimum requirement to work at CGR. Just kidding. But seriously, those pieces are quite heavy, and, you know, the biggest thing is you got to be very delicate when you're putting them in. Look at all the standoffs, guys. This thing is solid now. This is the way it should look. We basically kept the same layout that the customer had before. They wanted to keep the glass styled the same way with the panels in the exact same spots. Normally, where we're hanging 3 pieces here, we would have done that span in 1 piece. Yeah, 1 piece. It's a lot harder. It is more cheaper to do it as 3 pieces, but we take on more responsibility, and we just want to do what looks good. We don't mind. 10-foot piece, no problem. And the staircase here, which is done in 3 pieces, normally we would have done that in probably 2 pieces for a staircase of this size. We would have designed the system a little differently than they have it here, with pieces terminating underneath each other differently, but you know, like I said, the client wanted to keep this. Now, here I'm back into the house. This is a year later. This is after the clients have been living with it. After COVID, I finally got in to film this again. And now you can see the differences. You see that bolt? It ties into both pieces, and it's rock solid. In fact, this entire glass railing system that we've done is rock solid. There is not one loose spot. This is shopping mall grade quality solid. You see that standoff there? We repositioned it where it should be, symmetrical with the others. And here you can see our glass-to-glass 90-degree corner clamps. These are structural clamps, and they will firm up the glass system in any scenario, as you can see. Solid. I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it throughout this video. I would have no problem throwing my entire body weight on this railing. As you can see, we used wall clips as well. All the gaps are even, and that bolt coming out of the wall now, we have actually going through the glass. We made a hole in the glass. As you can see, there's a cap on the other side of it. And the client wanted to keep this design, so again, we worked with his ideas. We did reuse the handrails. That is the only thing that we reused. We re-welded all the holes shut on the bottom with the previous brackets that were there, and reused the handrails with our brackets. So that's the only thing that was reused on this job. Everything else is new. All the glass, all the hardware, everything was measured from scratch. We did things better, like this piece we made higher. Look at the gap. It's nice and even. We got a wall clamp on the glass to firm it up in every single spot possible. This client has 2 little kids, and he wanted to make sure this thing was not going to move if you touched it. And we did just that. We recreated the exact same design, except made it stronger, the way it should have been done the first time. As you can see, we moved the handrail from the wall side, if you remember before, onto the glass side, and we have a bolt running right through the bracket, tying into the other piece, locking those panels together. So now that the handrail is on the glass side, you can see we have 2 brackets per piece. We have a total of 6 handrail brackets in this handrail, whereas before there was only 2.
So we put the handrail on this side after it was on the wall. Now it's on the glass side.
Excuse the double narration, but I wanted to give you all the details of what were happening here, so you could really see and make up your mind when you are talking to people, getting quotes, and understanding what they're going to be giving you, and just making sure you do your due diligence, because some guys will take shortcuts. That's not who we are. That's not what we do. CGR will always give you the best quality. We stand by that. As you can see, this customer is extremely happy with us. Even a year later, with the pandemic, he allowed me to come back into his house and film this for the sake of my marketing. He's a very happy customer, as all of our customers are. Unfortunately, I had to keep the volume down on this one because he is on the phone on a business call, so I just wanted to respect his privacy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope now that you've learned something and you can see the difference of quality. And just like I said, quiz people. Do your due diligence. Ask them questions. Ask to see what they'll be using. I'm going to share more of these videos and just take you through some of our jobs so you guys can see and feel comfortable with what we're doing. If you ever want to hire CGR, we'll be here for you. Solid. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.